Hi, my name's David Franciscus, and I'm a writer, producer at Protagonist Studios in Cape Town. I started as a commercial director, or rather I went to film school, left, and went into the commercials industry before I got into feature filmmaking. After film school, I found the best company that I could to intern at Velocity Films. They were a big commercial production company back in the 2010s, and I started there as a PA. I worked a couple of years PAing, eventually moved up into casting, and after casting I decided to focus more on directing. That's what I wanted to do initially, and so I worked as a researcher. I would work under directors, putting treatments together and helping them craft pitches, find ideas for angles on a commercial brief. And I spent quite a fair deal of time doing that. After that, I broke away and started my own company. There, I spent a lot of time directing commercials throughout Africa, UK and the US as well. And all through this process, I kind of realized that I'd rather be making movies. That's why I got into it in the first place. And so I slowly started veering the company towards making movies instead. And out of necessity, I became a producer. It's something I just kind of fell into because I think there's a shortage of good producers in South Africa, and it's really difficult as a director to find somebody. So I used to be part of this writing group. Once a week we'd meet and we'd write scripts, screenplays, movies, and we were all directors, about 10 of us. And a consistent problem that kept on coming up was who were we going to find to make these movies? Where were we going to get the money? And so I just decided to take the plunge and shift my focus from directing into producing. And so that's where it started. I directed a couple of shorts myself and then moved on into producing shorts. I've worked with a lot of talented filmmakers in South Africa, making short films that have a life. That is to say that they can be adapted into features as well. And so we've made a couple of these shorts that then are able to be used as proof of concepts, and you can use those to raise interest and finance. You do the festival circuit, you go to the festivals, and people are generally interested in your work if it's good. And yeah, off of the back of those, we've been able to adapt those shorts into feature film projects, and we're now in the process of making those into full-length features. Raising finance is always the hardest thing. And so that's kind of a bottleneck that everybody experiences. I think especially in South Africa, it's really difficult to get a film made, to get money together. And so there's a few ways that you can do that. In South Africa, we're lucky to follow the European style of filmmaking as opposed to US. In the US, everything is about money. So it's more equity-based. You have to find investors that are very excited about your project, but also confident that your film will make money. And in South Africa, we have more of a grant system. So you can take your project and find organizations like the NFVF or certain other film offices and use that to get money to make your film. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. But grant finance is probably the easiest way to get things moving. They do it for a variety of stages, so development, pre-production, production, and post, and marketing. And so if you have a film idea, you can submit those concepts and the team to these organizations and get some money together to pay for your time writing the project or hiring a writer to write the project. So yeah, we're quite lucky to have that in South Africa, and I think where we fall short is private investment. It's a lot more difficult after the fact, once you've developed the project, to raise finance for a project. Some steps you can take is to submit those ideas, the shorts or the developed project into these various markets around the world. You've got Sundance, Tribeca, Berlinale Talents, which is a very good program. And so if you get into one of these projects, it's pretty much gilded. It's really competitive. They get thousands of entries every year, and they only select a handful, between 10 and 50, depending on the market. But once you get into those markets, it really accelerates the project forward. So it's kind of like being gilded. You get a project into a market, and from there you get a lot of assistance. You meet a lot of producers, financiers, sales agents, distributors, and things sort of just get moving from there. So that would be the gold standard, I think. It's also more geared towards independent films, so films that are less commercial in nature. If you have more of a commercial film, it's more of the traditional route that you want to follow. So you are likely to find some success making a proof of concept, and you can take those to festivals and markets, and their next good step would be to try and find a sales agent or distributor that believes in the project and the team. And once you've secured that person, it's a lot easier to raise interest, find actors, and then get private investment on board. Some tips for first-time producers. If you've come out of film school and you're trying to figure out how to get a foot in the door, I would advise against creating a film company off the back. And that's something that I did, and I struggled a lot in doing that. Where I did find success was working with other companies. So I would say try and find the best company that you can to intern at, and it's risk-free. It might be quite low pay, but you're learning and making connections, and it's all about connections. Through your filmmaking career, you'll keep working with the same people generally if you're a good fit, and so you want to establish those relationships as early as you can. Working at another film company is such a good way to build your skill set and experience without risking any of your own money. So all of the risk is taken by the company, and you kind of just get to be in this place where you can work on really cool projects and meet really cool people. And so I would advise on doing that, finding the best place that you can to work at. Find some filmmakers that you like, local filmmakers that have films that you really enjoyed, and see if you can intern at their company, I would say. Often I've heard people say this many times, and so I'm going to say the same thing. Films and filmmaking is an excuse to work together. So you find people, and it's more about that relationship, about finding people that you gel with, that you share values with, and the film is kind of like an afterthought. And I think that's also why so many films fall apart. The majority of films hardly get past development. So it's all about the relationship, finding good people that you enjoy working with and sticking close to them and trying to make the best thing that you can make. Some red flags in producing is someone that wears too many hats. Oftentimes you can find somebody that's amateur or that has just started or that isn't serious, and you can identify that person by them being the writer, producer, director, actor. Filmmaking is a team sport, and you need all of these skills, and people are really good at what they do to come together and work together. You have to find really good people that you can work with. And so whenever I see filmmakers that are auteurs, it's usually an indicator that they're quite inexperienced and just need to find the people that they work well with before they can get on their journey of being a successful filmmaker. generally those people that do make it, that are writer, producer, director, actors, they have spent some time, working in the system before getting there. And so, yeah, I think the best advice that I could give is to try and find people that are better than you at what they do. And yeah, everybody's got blind spots. So I'm a creative that's also entrepreneurial, and I'd say that my directing skills are weaker than my producing skills, and so I decided to focus on producing. And that's not to say that I won't return to directing in the future, but for now I want to be of the most value that I can, working with people and assisting in creating value with that skill set of producing. And so, yeah, I would say try to focus on one thing before you do everything. Yeah.